Hello everyone. Last time we have done graphical representation of first order reaction and we have also started zero order reaction. So we have seen till the units of rate constant of zero order reaction. So today we are going to see the half-life of zero order reaction now. So to start with the half-life of zero order reaction, first we have to write down the rate constant equation for the zero order reaction, and which is given by K is equal to molar concentration of A naught, that is initial concentration, minus final concentration upon T. Okay, so initial concentration is represented by A naught and final concentration is represented by molar concentration of AT. So now, as you know, the zero order reaction is given by this equation. Now I just have to change the condition. That means half-life means when half of the reaction is completed. So time taken to reach that half stage. Okay, that is said to be half-life period. Okay, so half-life means, for example, if a reaction completes in, for example, 100 minutes. So what will be half life? That is nothing but what is the condition at T is equal to 50 minutes. That is nothing but half life of that reaction. Okay, so what is the concentration of that thing? So we can say it will be exactly half. Okay, so the condition will be T is equal to T half. So T will be replaced by T half and the final concentration will be equal to the initial concentration upon 2. That means we haven't completed the reaction, we have reached only half the reaction. So therefore we write it as final concentration will be equal to initial concentration upon 2. So once you know this changes, you just have to substitute in this equation. So the equation becomes K is equal to initial concentration minus the final concentration is replaced by A naught upon 2. So it will be molar concentration of A naught upon 2 upon T is replaced by T half. So now I can cross multiply the numerator. So it will be 2 A naught minus A naught upon 2. So it will be 2 minus 1 is what? 1. So it will be 1 into molar concentration of A naught upon 2 T half. So what is T half equal to then? T half is equal to initial concentration upon 2K, or you can also write the equation as K is equal to initial concentration upon 2 into T half. Okay, so we can say that by seeing this equation, the half-life of zero order reaction is proportional to the initial concentration of reactant. Okay. Next, we will see the graphical representation of zero order reaction. So for that, first we have to understand that we know the rate law. Okay, so the rate constant equation is given by K is equal to initial concentration minus final concentration upon T. So I have rearranged that equation. So the rate law in equation gives what? AT is equal to minus KT plus molar concentration of A naught. Okay, so that is nothing but the initial concentration. So I have just rearranged that equation. So now over here, as you can see, this equation is in the form of y is equal to mx plus c. So when the equation is in the form of y equal to mx plus c, that means what? It will give me a straight line, and if c is there, that means it will have some intercept, and as m is equal to minus k, that means negative slope, the graph will go downwards. Okay, so this is what the hint you will get. So you know the y-axis, what will be there? The concentrations, that is final concentration, different concentration I will be taking. In the x-axis I will be taking time factor, and slope is nothing but minus k, and the intercept will be the initial concentration. Okay, so now we'll see the graph of this. So as you can see the graph, we have taken AT as the y-axis, time in the x-axis, and we have drawn. So the intercept on the y-axis is equal to the initial concentration, that is A0, and the slope is negative, therefore the line is going downwards. Okay, so we can say that the T half of zero order reaction is directly proportional to the initial concentration, and the equation of both the half-life and the rate constant value is very important. Okay, so now we'll see some examples of zero order reaction. So the first example is decomposition of NH3 on platinum metal. What is NH3? It is nothing but ammonia. Okay, now ammonia is a gas. So, and what is platinum metal? It is acting as a catalyst. So it will give the surface, that means platinum metal will give the surface so that ammonia molecules will come and absorb, and that much molecules will be decomposed. So I can say that the metal surface gets completely covered by a layer of ammonia molecules. So a number of ammonia molecules attached on platinum surface is small as compared to ammonia gas. Okay, so we can say that a large number of the ammonia molecules tend to remain as gas which do not react. The molecules present on the metal surface only react. Therefore, I can say that the rate of the reaction is independent of the total concentration of ammonia. Therefore, I can say that this is an example of zero order reaction. So, hopefully you understood this thing. Why it is a zero order reaction? Because it is not dependent on the concentration of its reactants. Okay, so over here only one reactant was there, which was that one reactant, it was ammonia, and the other one was acting as a catalyst. So because of that catalyst, what happens, the ammonia molecules are forced to come, that means by applying pressure it is forced to come and absorb on the surface of that platinum metal. As a result, that much ammonia molecules are getting decomposed. Therefore we can say that this is an example of zero order reaction where the rate of the reaction is independent of the total concentration of ammonia. So next example, decomposition of nitrous oxide in the presence of platinum catalyst. Over here as well we can say that the rate of the reaction is independent of the initial concentration of its reactant, that is nitrous oxide. So it comes under what? Zero order reaction. Next one, the catalytic decomposition of phosphine gas on hot tungsten at high pressure is again an example of what? Zero order reaction. So over here as well we can say that it is independent of the initial concentration of the phosphine gas. Okay, so now we'll see the pseudo first order reaction. So what is pseudo? Pseudo is nothing but we can call it as false. So by the name itself we can say that it will be of higher order reaction, that means it will be more than first order reaction, but it will act as the first order reaction. Okay, so that means it will show higher order but will come under pseudo first order reaction, as one of the solvent will be taken as excess over there. So we can say that certain reactions which are expected to be of higher order follow the first order kinetics. They are said to be pseudo first order reaction. So the example is hydrolysis of methyl acetate. So what do you mean by hydrolysis of methyl acetate? That is, the methyl acetate molecule will be broken with the help of water molecule. So breaking of methyl acetate molecule with the help of water molecule is said to be hydrolysis of methyl acetate. Okay, so what is methyl acetate now? Methyl acetate is nothing but what? CH3COOCH3. So CH3COOCH3 plus water will give me what? So H2O will help in breaking. So it will break the molecule as what? CH3COOH and CH3OH. One is acetic acid and the other one is methanol. Okay, so what we have to focus over here is the rate law. So the rate law will be given by rate is equal to K dash into molar concentration of methyl acetate into molar concentration of water molecule. Over here, by seeing the reaction, we can predict that it is expected to be the second order reaction. Okay, but it obeys what? The first order reaction. So the reaction was expected to follow the second order kinetics but obeys first order reaction. Now what is the reason behind that? The reason is the solvent molecule is taken in excess. Which is the solvent molecule over here? Water is the solvent molecule. So this thing is taken in excess. As a result, the change of its concentration will not affect anything. That means I can say that water molecule will be a constant one. Okay, so its concentration is not dependent. It will not change the rate law. Okay, so therefore we call it as what? Pseudo first order reaction. So I have taken the concentration of water as constant, that is equal to K double dash. So the rate law becomes rate is equal to K dash into molar concentration of methyl acetate into K double dash, as water molecule is replaced by a constant, that is K double dash. So I can write it as rate is equal to K into molar concentration of methyl acetate, where K is nothing but equal to K dash into K dash, which is a constant. Okay, so I can say the reaction is therefore a first order reaction or pseudo first order reaction. So now we'll see the effect of a catalyst on the rate of a reaction. So first we'll see what is a catalyst. A catalyst is a substance added to a reaction that increases the rate of the reaction without itself being consumed in the reaction. So let's consider one example, that is the oxidation of potassium chlorate. That means potassium chlorate reacting with oxygen molecule in the presence of MnO2. What is that? Manganese oxide. It will give me potassium chloride. Now what is MnO2? MnO2 is the catalyst used in the reaction. So we can say that what does catalyst do? Catalyst over here speeds up the reaction. It is observed that the decomposition rate increases with the addition of catalyst. So I can say that a catalyst provides alternative pathway associated with lowering of the activation energy. So that means catalyst lowers the activation energy. Okay, so as a result, what will happen? The reaction will be completed faster. Okay, so now we'll see a graph in which we can see the comparison of the potential energy barriers for the catalyzed and uncatalyzed reaction. So curve A refers to uncatalyzed reaction and curve B refers to catalyzed reaction. So as you can see in the graph, the in both the curve, what is the difference? The energy of activation for the catalyzed reaction is lesser as compared to the uncatalyzed reaction. Now what is energy of activation? Energy of activation is the minimum quantity of energy which the reacting species possess in order to undergo a specified reaction. Okay, so it is a minimum amount of energy which is needed by the reactant so that it can turn into the product. If that barrier of the energy of activation is reduced, it will complete it faster. Okay, so I can say that whenever I use a catalyst in a reaction, it speeds up a reaction. How it speeds up a reaction? By decreasing the energy of activation there. Okay, so hopefully it is understood. So always remember, the catalyst speeds up the reaction. Therefore the rate of the reaction will be easily achieved. It increases the rate of the reaction. Okay, so now we'll see one more example, that is a decomposition of hydrogen peroxide in aqueous solution catalyzed by iodide ions. Over here, what is hydrogen peroxide? Hydrogen peroxide is H2O2. So H2O2, when decomposed, it will give me water and oxygen in the presence of iodide ions. So when this reaction is taken at room temperature, the rate of the reaction is much slower in the absence of a catalyst. That is because the activation energy at that time is 76 kilojoule per mole. Okay, now when this iodide ions are used, that is the catalyst which the iodide ions which act as the catalyst is used, what happens? It lowers the energy of activation. So the energy of activation at that time is equal to 57 kilojoule per mole in the presence of iodine ions. As a result, what will happen? The rate of the reaction is faster. Okay, so hopefully you understood the activation energy is decreased when we use the catalyst over here as well. Okay, again we'll see one graph where we'll do the comparison of fraction of molecules for catalyzed and uncatalyzed reaction. So over here, this plot of fraction of molecules as a function of energy. Okay, so a catalyst lowers the threshold energy. Okay, that means what happens? More molecules will acquire the minimum amount of energy required to cross the barrier. As a result, the reaction will be completed sooner. A fraction of activated molecules is greater for the catalyzed reaction. So the rate of catalyzed reaction is larger than the reaction with no catalyst. So hopefully you understood this. Whenever, that means what happens over here, whenever we use a catalyst, what happens? More number of molecules will have that threshold energy, which will help to convert to the product, As a result, what will happen? The rate of the reaction will be faster. Okay, so and one more thing, what is threshold energy? It is the minimum energy that the molecule should have so that it will lead to the product. Okay, that means it can pass that activation energy there. Okay, so we have completed the theory part of this chapter. So next time we are going to do sums based on this chapter. Okay then, bye.